This episode of This Week in League is brought to you by Manscaped and the new Lawnmower 3.0. Get yours at manscaped.com and use the code TWiLNation at checkout to receive 20% off plus free shipping. This Week in League, the Broncos left with the foot in their mouth after soft players have trouble with penetration and finish before the full-time hooter.
Newcastle over the moon with the acquisition of Blake Green after he brings a wealth of experience already playing beside a failed Origin halfback.
David Nofaluma shocks the world by pledging his support for Donald Trump and showing that he can actually stay on the right wing.
Plus, we look ahead to all the action for round 13 of the 2020 NRL season.
All that and more This Week in League. Welcome to episode 362 of This Week in League. I'm Nate.
And I'm Jay.
What's happening, dude?
Another week of living in rugby league paradise. Penrith undefeated for the entire fucking season.
I thought you were saying rugby league paradise as in Queensland, where we can go outside and, as the fans on the Sunshine Coast showed, you can actually fucking jam into a stadium, see some footy, pretend it's real.
It's not like that was televised around the fucking nation.
Yeah, but I mean, just for some context for the people who want to feel a certain way about it, this is what happens if you fucking stay inside when you're told. You can do this shit. You can have nice things. You can go out to the footy.
Yeah.
You can go to restaurants. You can go to the pub. You don't have to get locked up. You don't have to be locked up in some fucking Dickensian fucking winter, locked in your house for 6 weeks. Because you're a fucking sovereign citizen. Or you can
also have shit things if you want them, like many people in Queensland do. You can have fucking, I don't know, there's that, what's that fucking...
Broncos memberships, that's a shit thing you should have in...
There you go, that's it. You can fucking have that too. You can have other shit things like all of Logan and anything south of the fucking Brisbane River. Yeah, you can choose to have absolute shit things like that too, so you can have nice things.
The land where these fucking fish stick looking Jeffreys reside.
And shit things. Who, might I fucking add, were allegedly part of a fucking criminal conspiracy to hack, designer goods and stuff like that and come up here because obviously the market for fucking stolen Louis Vuitton handbags is stronger in Logan than anywhere else in the country. The fuck has Logan ever given anyone except Corey Parker and Cam Smith's cunt of a wife?
Yeah, well, so there you go.
I'm glad you enjoyed the footy on the
I heard there was another story. There was another story where 3 people were trying to sneak over the border as well. And where the fuck were they going? I'll give you one guess.
Logan.
Fucking Logan.
Exactly.
Unbelievable.
Fucking hell. Nothing good.
I mean, Australia's shame is, obviously Victoria's undefeated. I mean, they want to be number one. Guess what? You're number one at being Australia's shame.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, if you want to talk about Queensland's shame, apart from their state of origin team, it's Logan.
It's like, here's the thing. Like, you talk about Australian crims, you're like, Ivan's always going to be Ivan. The fucking, who's the Port Arthur cunt?
Marty Bryant,
see? He's always going to be him. But Logan is the fucking Dennis Ferguson, right? Like, it's not as fucking grand and overarching as the other two, but fuck me if it isn't somehow worse.
And so that would then, in that, extending that analogy, then Victoria would be like the Cardinal George Pell.
Well, that's where he's from.
Yeah, well, surprise. It's such a shocking surprise that he's from there.
And a fucking obvious AFL fan.
Yeah, obviously.
So, vis-a-vis people that like AFL, touch children.
Yep.
Yeah. Welcome, new listeners.
Yeah, welcome, new listeners. This week in... I'll tell you what, another one of our favourite pastimes on this show, though. And, when you think...
Hang on, please clarify that.
Is let me finish my sentence. I mean, because if you just cut it off like that, it sounds like we're like AFL fans or something, and that's not the case.
How good would that be if that gets into the common vernacular? Like,
AFL fan becomes like a synonym for rock spider and things like that. That'd be great.
Did you hear about that new PE teacher? Apparently he left his last school because he was a bit of an AFL fan.
Yeah, they get him to jail, and it's like, what did you do? And it's like, oh, I'm a Richmond supporter. And straight into protective custody. But one of our favourite pastimes, as well as kicking AFL, is doing news stories about the West Tigers. And this one, look, I want to be upfront. So this is obviously a fucking non-story. I can't believe it got printed, but it's hilarious that the world environment exists around the club where these things can be stories. The West Tigers have moved quickly to shut down rumours Michael Maguire could walk out in the club and take the reins at North Queensland. Ivan Cleary left Concord mid-contract less than 2 years ago despite seeming to publicly deny reports he would do so. I respect the contract that I have with the West Tigers. I respect all of the people and the supporters. I intend to honour this contract, he said at the time. His well-publicised exit to take up a head coaching role at the Panthers has only intensified an already existing rivalry with his former club. It seems now that lingering hurt from Cleary's defection has left the twitchy Tigers wanting to get on the front foot early. When rumours circled that Maguire was being sounded out for the Cowboys gig, Tigers officials were quick to call a meeting to clear up his position. We heard the talk, and your mate, Justin, met with Michael straight away. Tigers chairman Lee, what's his name? Haji Pentelis told the SMH. From our discussions with Michael, he has assured us that he won't be tendering any offers or expressions of interest from other clubs during the course of his tenure with the West Tigers. He's a quality person and given us his word, so I take him on that.
So, this is an opportune time to remind everybody of exactly how the fucking Cleary situation went down. He had a contract, and he was in a position to honour the entirety of that contract. He was offered an additional contract with a different club only after his current contract had come to an end. So there was no poaching, there was nothing. And the place he was at was enough of a fucking dumpster fire that he chose to take up that contract elsewhere, not even giving his current employer the opportunity to renegotiate with him because he knew that there was nothing they could do. They then went to him and said, well, if you're going to do that, we're going to get our little fucking panties in a twist and we're going to demand that you leave early. So that's how that actually happened. Which,
let's be fair, every fucking club pretty much does.
Yeah, same thing. Except
it happens so often because a lot of the times when coaches leave, it's not that often that they leave somewhere and slot into somewhere.
Correct.
Like they've got somewhere lined up that they leave and transition from one to the next because there's things like the ability to poach players or whatever, salt the earth on the way out. That's why when. Well, I mean, you think about I'm just trying to think of current situations. I mean, admittedly, there's a lot of fucking tenured coaches out there, but like Des Hasler, he had a couple of years off before he went from A to B. We come up with a situation where there is a switch over from year on year.
Yep.
Seabold and Bennett, and what happened then? They were both switched a year early because it's untenable to have fucking coaches have a whole year with a playing group when they're leaving the next year, especially with contracts running out and all this sort of thing.
Yeah.
So. It wasn't an uncommon situation for Cleary to do what he did, especially because the other fact is he was going to coach his son,
exactly.
Which let's face it, I mean,
look,
that's
and it has nothing to do with the story, but I do always enjoy bringing up how certain it was that Nathan was going to the Tigers.
Yeah.
Fuck, you'd have it. You'd make the eight this year.
Yeah, but let's be real. I mean, that's. Obviously was Penrith's imperative to make sure they got Ivan back to ensure that wasn't a possibility. But because Nathan had come out and sort of leveraged the made the situation important because he would he's saying he wants to get coached by dad again sometime.
Yeah, that's it.
And the Panthers like, well, fucking, we better get him in there because before his contract runs out, just to cross the T's,
exactly,
dot the I's. But having said that, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with him taking a job after the conclusion of his existing contract.
Correct.
And if they want to fuck him off early, which I think is probably, which is probably prudent in the modern age, they did that.
Yep.
So the only real issue with any of the parties here is the West Tigers cuck fan base, because they're the ones that get frothy about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would also like to point out...
And obviously the Tigers administration's frothy about it too, because they have to go and fucking bail up old Madge and be like, please don't leave us.
I would also like to point out that before any of that shit went down, Gus approached Justin Pascoe with an open checkbook pretty much and said, let's make all of this happen out of the fucking spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
What can we do to fucking grease the wheels here?
Yep.
And instead of getting a fucking positive outcome of any kind for his club, Pascoe opted to get fuck all. So, well done. What a great negotiator he is. Fuck you,
yeah,
you
so
fucking
that's the history of why the West Tigers are so jittery, and now are basically they're showing all their cards to Madge. They're so insecure.
You would want to hope that, a la Trent Barrett at Manly, that there was nothing that was even remotely promised to him at the Tigers that he's not getting.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't matter if you get it though, because Trent Barrett got everything he wanted. But the off season before he started, they've upgraded the gym to the tune of like $500,000. So he basically just because we've spoken about this in previous episodes, he used his protected status among the media to try and spin his own story. And I mean,
But
it's great because now he's going to be coaching the Dogs.
You're right. There's nothing to that story.
So like I say, people get what they deserve.
Yeah, there's nothing to that story but a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
Look, there is that thing of there's no smoke without fire, but really, I've got no idea where the rumour started.
I hadn't heard the rumour before the article about them having a meeting with him came out.
Yeah.
So the rumour must have been very internal.
Yes.
And yeah.
Anyway, on to actual
I'll tell you
news.
what, knowing they're so receptive to rumours like that, we should try seeding all sorts of shit and see what they jump. See what makes them jump.
Yeah, just leave Justin a voicemail and say, can we just confirm reports that Robbie Farah's interested in becoming the CEO, and just wait for him to fucking issue press releases.
You just leave a voicemail and go, Justin, Anthony Seymour here. I just want to make it absolutely clear that I will not allow my position to be overtaken by Mick Maguire. I've heard the rumours that he's coming up here to take the Broncos job next year, and then boom,
done.
We've met with him because let's face it, I mean, all coaches are looking for an upgrade on their position, and so I mean, why wouldn't Madge be interested in the Broncos?
Yeah, spot on.
Speaking of the Broncos,
please do.
Segue. Tony Staggs was the victim of a revenge porn situation yesterday, where there was a consensually taken video of him.
Can I just start
giving a young lady the most mediocre 45 seconds of her life, and it had been spread, and with reports today saying that the video came from a rival NRL club. Can
I put in there though?
Well, yes.
NRL journalism.
Yes, stepdad, you can get like a very half limp thing and try and get it in there to the best of your ability.
Let me get my slightly flaccid point of view and just try and jam it in people's ear holes. I got a real fucking problem with this being called revenge porn. Now, revenge porn is actually a thing where that means that the girl, that would mean in this case for it to be revenge porn, is that the girl he was with, right, that he has broken up with her, and she's maliciously released it. And she has released this.
That's what they're investigating
to try and get back to him. Yeah, but if another club has come across it, if she's given it to a friend, and then somehow through fucking 20 pairs of hands, someone in another club has come across it, and then they've leaked it to the media, that's not revenge porn.
Yeah, I don't think anyone leaked it to the media per se, did they? They sort of just...
Or put it out in the...
Yeah.
Whatever. But if it was another club that was sending it out widespread, that's not revenge porn.
Yeah.
So, must be very careful. It's a very fucking sensitive, real issue that people deal with. I'm very frightened of it.
Why?
So I have a lot of people out there trying to get revenge on me. Because sometimes I say things that aren't exactly true so that girls take their clothes off.
Yeah, well, be that as it may, I would like to think that if a video were to emerge, my game's tight. You watch that shit, enjoy that shit, pick up some, get some pointers, fucking go for broke.
No.
Yeah, yeah. You have more confidence, man. You should be more confident.
You ever seen that?
You're like, yeah.
Did you see that Planet Earth series recently? Where the fucking walruses tried to make it back down to the beach, but they fucked up.
Well, the ones who were jumping over the cliff.
Yep. Imagine a human face on them. That's pretty much what I look like. Like just flailing fucking body parts going everywhere.
And then just a bloody mess at the end of it. So, Katoni Staggs has been cleared. Yeah, as he should be. I mean, like, it's one thing, to even allow things to record things yourself or to allow. I mean, he recorded them. I mean, he was in charge of the selfie view camera. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, he adjusts it several times. And I suspect that the difficulty he had with grasping the nuances of cinematography in a gonzo style is what probably just affected his concentration somewhat, and which means he can only get his dick like probably 30% erect.
Realistically, it's come out that the video was consensual.
Yes.
All of these other ones that the NRL had an issue with.
Like rat bags and like the classic rat bags and the classic boot the slut, etc.
Big Papi and rat bags.
Yep. Well, Big Papi was consensual as hell. I mean, unless his ass wanted to take a fucking restraining order out on his fist.
No, but remember he had the one where he was up in the guts.
Oh yes, yep.
I believe that was the issue. So that they were non-consensual and that the girls had an issue with it being leaked. This one's consensual, so there's really no story except apparently, which is a shame for all you Brisbane-based star fuckers out there, that Broncos players fuck like they play football.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. A half rigid effort, and only playing for. I was going to say, there's no part of the game that goes for fucking little time. I mean, like fuck me, people take longer time lining up a goal.
If you pan the camera around, there was actually a very dejected-looking Anthony Seibold sitting in the corner watching him fuck, concerned about his future. So,
I mean, people want to talk about how fucked the scrums are, but let me tell you, the scrums were. The scrums last a lot longer and a lot more closer to what the original vision for that activity actually is. Next, we have this one just came out this afternoon. And the headline is it's very salacious. Ex-NRL player sent off for wiping blood on opponent in dumb brain snap. And then you go down into the text of the article and it says, former Knights and Titans playmaker Bo Henry has come under intense scrutiny for wiping blood onto an opponent in a game over the weekend. And so this is low, guys. Henry was sent from the field just under 20 minutes into what ended up being a heavy 53-16 loss for his team, Wentworthville, against Glebe Burwood Wolves in the President's Cup. So, the headline says ex-NRL player. And while technically I guess it's correct, if you're a playmaker for the Wooden Spoon era Knights and the Any era Titans, are you really?
Yes.
Thor.gif? Like, yeah, come on, mate.
Fuck.
But that is pretty fucking grubby. And
do we actually have any information on it? Like, did he
I can tell you, like, I can continue the story. They go into it. It said the incident happened after another former Titan, John Olive, went over in the left corner for a try that pushed Glebe's lead out to 4 points.
Yep.
Henry received treatment from the trainer after injuring his nose and was seen behind the play, but eventually started to make his way back into the defensive line. That was right as the Wolves shifted the ball towards the left edge and caught Wenty out for their second four-quarter of the game. But in back play, there was more drama ensuing. The cameras followed Olive as he dived over in the corner, and it would later be revealed that as the side celebrated his try, Henry went to wipe some of the blood from the knock to his nose onto opposition player Addison Demetriou. Demetriou said to have then reported the incident straight to a match official. And he was sent off.
Okay. Yeah, that's fucking... Yeah.
I just think it's hilarious in this day and age. Well, I'll tell you what to say about it. In this day and age, like, it's a grubby thing to do like on purpose at any time. And like in the NRL, obviously there's far more scrutiny. Yes. You've got your cameras and eyes on everything, so the referee knows what's going on. Correct. And he'll get the call to say, look, get that guy patched up, or get him behind the play, or get him off if you can't.
Yep.
Obviously, President's Cup's going to have it did have commentary, but it's a lesser level of technology and scrutiny. But under any circumstances, any time, it's fucking grubby. It's a grubby thing to do. But then you put it into this current 2020 germophobic, with the pandemic shit going on at the moment. And obviously, it's no way to spread a pandemic, but when everyone's being so fucking ultra cautious about things like social distancing,
etc.
Yeah. I mean, it just makes it even fucking like far worse.
Yes. Yeah. It's again. Fuck you. That's more than a brain snap. Anyway.
Yeah.
Fucking gross.
It is.
Get on.
It is gross, and that's all we've got to say about that.
Mm.
Support for This Week in League is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-belt grooming, offering precision-engineered tools for your family jewels.
And they are precision-engineered. Their technology is absolutely fantastic. But I want to give you something that's a little bit closer to home.
Well, first, let's just say that we've availed ourselves of the new Lawnmower 3.0. As part of the perfect package. So when you're speaking about the alternative, we understand that this is the goods. I assume that you've had a chance to review the technology.
Do you see? So because we're doing this episode remotely,
yes,
because of Rona, the hair that you can see on my face and head,
yes,
is the only hair left on my body.
There you go. That's fair to say. It's fair to say that unchecked, you would be a Wookiee.
Oh no. My natural state is that every day I wake up in hope that I can open the newspaper and go straight to the fucking jobs classifieds and see that they're taking castings for a live stage performance of Gorillas in the Mist. And I would be able to play a baby gorilla, maybe. Just with that sort of like fuzzy down everywhere. But
why do we need it? Tell me, why do we need it? I mean, you have a lot of experience in you're in the dating game again, so you've got to be sharp and on top of the game.
Let me tell you a story.
Right.
From my youth, I remember how important manscaping was. Now that's the act, not the company. The company wasn't around then.
Yep.
Talking about the act. So scaping was always the goods, and it's a courtesy. You know, it shows that you're a caring, generous lover. And so after I became single again, after I ended things with the ex, I thought, well, I'd better get back into some serious fucking grooming down there. And I used the tools available to me at the time, which was pair of scissors from my kitchen drawer, which is a fucking terrible idea. It's a fucking terrible idea. Like, you think you've known abject terror. I don't care what you've done. Bungee jumping, fucking haunted houses, anything. Nothing compares to the abject terror of trimming your fucking ball hair with a pair of those giant pink plastic handled fucking kitchen scissors that are probably brimming with fucking salmonella on them. But anyway, I digress. I'd also taken in the opportunity to use some hair removal cream, and I'd come home from work, was ready to go out on my date, and I was running a little bit behind time. So I've, given a very, very broad application of this hair removal cream, and it's, it does a job, but it's not.
Is it like you like rub on and then rub off and it's just done?
Like, you got to put it on. You got to set a timer. Otherwise, make sure your fucking skin doesn't blister and end up looking like the bad guy at the end of RoboCop, which
the guy that gets run over and explodes on the windshield.
You and I think that's cool, but no girl wants to find that when she takes her fucking pants off.
Yeah, but I mean, but having said that as well, I mean, like, if I just so happen to catch a fucking glance of your tackle, I probably don't want to see it looking like fucking Freddy Krueger either, though.
And that's the unfortunate thing, because I am going to send you photos if it ever looks like that. But
can I just say, let me just take a sidebar.
Sidebar from the sidebar.
3-4 times over the last, like, probably 2 years. You have sent me all sorts of fucking photographs. The shit that no one ever needs or wants to see. But yeah, continue.
One of those two. And so I've gone out on my date, and I was lucky enough to impress this young lady enough that she thought it was a good idea to take her clothes off in front of me. And we're there, and she started, kissing down and unbuttoning the buttons on the shirt, and she's going lower and lower and lower. So I know where this is going, and I fucking put the hands behind the head. I'm fucking ready to go. And she gets down. Now, I don't know whether you guys have come across a website. It's growing in popularity. I believe it does fairly well. It's called Pornhub. One of the categories on that is gagging, and that's basically where girls will stick a dick so far down their throat that they half suffocate themselves, and they're gagging and spitting and all of this terrible stuff. And she's down there, and for the first time in my life, I start to hear gagging noises when a girl is sucking on my dick. To which I had this beautiful moment of serendipity where I thought,
I'm Rocco.
What?
Look at me, I'm Rocco.
Maybe I measured wrong. Maybe I measured wrong. And that was going. And the worst part of it was, as she started gagging, I've started thrusting more heavily with this poor girl. And it's finished with her throwing up mushroom risotto that I'd fucking paid for at dinner all over my crotch and the bed sheets. And the beauty of fucking Manscaped is I went to fucking town with this thing yesterday, and I did it in the shower.
Mm-hmm.
So not only can you go fucking 2 for 1, get ready for your dates or your dinner or your special occasion, or just getting your dick sucked, you fucking disgusting animals, clean it first. But you also avoid putting noxious chemicals all over your fucking junk that some poor unsuspecting member of society is going to put their mouth on. Realize that anything that's designed to make hair drop out of your body after 9 minutes of contact is not a good thing to go in people's mouths.
I mean, like, wash your shit too. I mean, just a sidebar.
This is the thing, though. I was in the shower. You have to take it off in the shower. But
those days are behind you now.
This thing is fucking quick. It's easy. It's got a little fucking light on it. So when bending over to get the fucking untenable asshole region, especially if you're in the shower, absolutely fantastic.
Well, that's the thing with when I read the features of the LED light, I was honestly like, when on paper you're reading that feature and like, who cares? But in practice, it's actually very fucking useful, I find.
Yes. This was an absolute fucking game changer, and this comes from somebody that has tried almost every way there is to fucking make it look like I'm a couple of inches better than I am.
So let's go into the stats. So, 18 months perfecting the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created. It's the Lawnmower 3.0 is the one that we have, and a cutting edge ceramic blade to reduce accidents, meaning nicks and gashes, I presume. A battery that lasts up to 90 minutes. So even if you're Adam Elliott, you've got all the time in the world to get your shave done. And
put it this way, I went big toe to neck. And you still had plenty. You still didn't run out of bats. And it didn't even do that slow down thing.
Yep. And as you mentioned, it's you can do it in a shower. It's water resistant, so you can do all your grooming in a shower, which is probably the best place to do it anyway in terms of mess and safety of the tender areas.
Yes.
But it comes with the charging stand, powered by USB.
Yep.
So get 20% off plus free shipping with the code TWiLNation at manscaped.com. That offer is now officially open. And something you only just mentioned to me yesterday that I hadn't thought about, perfect timing, given it's the first week of August now, the end of the first week of August, perfect timing for Father's Day, which is but a month away in Australia.
That is the absolute fucking perfect time to get one. If you're going to get one for you. But, now I'm speaking to the half of you degenerate fucks who, A, actually know who your father is, and B, could stand your fucking mothers to stick with them now. But your poor mother, every fucking Thursday night when he comes home from work and it's fucking, gobby night, he knows what's on, she knows what's on. They've been married for fucking 40 years, so no one fucks around with any sort of pleasantries or showers anymore. In getting one of these for your dad for Father's Day, you are actually doing a favour for your wonderful mother. Reach down now, pull out a fucking fistful of your own pubes and stick them in your mouth. Get them right down the fucking back of your throat. Feel them in there. Feel that fucking... That's what your fucking mother feels like once a week. Save your mother and buy one of these for your dad for Father's Day. Or your fucking stepdad. Who cares? Manscaped. It is the fucking goods. I love it.
And do it for yourself. Do it for yourself.
Yeah, but mostly for your mum.
But I don't know how things work in your family, but my mother's life's not going to be affected positively in any way, shape, or form by the fact that I own one of these products.
Yeah, I know. But if you're only going to get one...
Yeah, if you're going to get... Oh, so you're saying get one, get it for your old man.
Yes.
Right.
Get two. That's fine. But if you're only going to get one, get that fucking bird's nest out of the back of your mum's throat.
And there's a slogan if I've ever heard one. Get that bird's nest out of the back of your mum's throat at manscaped.com. Use code TWiLNation at checkout for 20% off plus free shipping.
Fuck yes.
Righto, recaps. Thursday night, we kicked off the round with the Rabbitohs 32 defeating the Dragons 24 at Netstrata Jubilee. The Rabbitohs 32 came from a hat trick to Alex Johnston. as good wingers do. A double to Cody Walker. Latrell Mitchell also on the try scorers list. Mitchell, 3 of 6 conversions and a penalty goal necessitated by the lack of Reynolds there after a while. And the Dragons, 24 tries, double to Dufty. Ewan Aitken, Tyson Frizzell and Michaeli Ravalawa with tries. Zach Lomax, 2 of 5 conversions. Now, I've got to say, this game, but particularly the first half,
yes,
was fucking very, very entertaining.
Fucking wasn't it just?
It was some of the most entertaining gameage that I've seen this season.
For both teams, there were plenty of positives to take away from this. And I know that's a cliche, but to look at what each of them did, like the Dragons, especially in their offense, are running together. They're running in numbers. It's not that fucking one-out obvious play bullshit that they were serving up for most of the beginning of the year. Dufty, in given his full-time role at fullback, he would go a long way to be the most improved player this season. If there weren't people like, Isaiah Yeo, Nathan Cleary, Api Coruscant, just to name a few. But when you look at that modern fullback, you want somebody that's going to fucking press around the middle and follow up just like Teddy does.
Yep.
But who can also chip in on those fucking sweeping backline plays. And a couple of passes he threw, like his pass to Aiken was absolutely fucking magical. Absolutely fucking magical. Then for South, Cody Walker.
Yep.
We haven't seen great Cody Walker since he was absolutely head fucked in State of Origin.
That's right.
He just hasn't been the same since. And I don't know what it was. Was it, how important Indigenous round is to him? Was there something else going on there behind the scenes? But whatever it was that fucking motivated him that night, he wasn't back to how he was pre-Origin fucking. But Jesus Christ, if he continues that trajectory, especially in a team with no Reynolds, which is typically meant for South that they get directionless and lack game management, he really fucking stepped up there.
Yep, as he had to. But for the Dragons, there's a match-winning lead they relinquished. But, I mean, that lead, as well as they kind of played at the start of that game, it all came off the back of South's errors and kind of weird chancy shit too.
Yeah.
Like, so and once the Rabbitohs cut that out and started getting through their sets, then that was when they rolled on and decisively won from that point on. But having said that, in this modern game, you've got an 18-point lead. You want to fucking hold on to that shit.
It speaks to, I think, the psychology of a lot of teams in this day and age. Like, gone are the days when you can put 18 on and comfortably manage a team out,
Yeah.
These days, people can come back at you in 6-7 minutes. Absolutely fucking ridiculous.
Yep.
But, yeah, no, South showed good determination to get back into the game.
All right, hit some tweets.
First one on that we'll give to @_JDHD44 Dragons fan on Twitter. Said, I made Corey Horsburgh look like a rational human being after that one. John in our Facebook group said, why don't Souths want Johnson? Something kick them out. I fucking agree. Dan said, did Mary complain when the bunker fuck up on the Frizzell try went in their favour this week? No, didn't think so. Be a man and acknowledge your square up. Oh, I don't think fucking anyone's ever going to do that. Winston said, so my Dragons played like a real football team for about as long as I last in the sack, including cuddle time. The worst thing is I cannot self-medicate with alcohol as I am on call. When does this season end? For you cunts in, 8 weeks? Dragons fans only have 8 weeks of misery. Steve said, random question for anyone at the game. Do they really play the South team song every time they score, even though they're away? Or is the TV adding that? I noticed it a couple of weeks ago. Do you know the answer?
I honestly don't know. I mean, as listeners would know, I mean, the vast majority of the game's watching without sound on anyway. So I wasn't aware they were doing it anyway, and I would say that if I don't think the TV would be doing it, right? I mean, in an away game. I mean, they try to be like contextually appropriate for the sounds that they use.
Here's the thing I noticed as well. In the Penrith game, every time the Panthers scored, they got that Panther growl played.
Yeah. Okay. So are you saying I don't think. Well, you know what? Home teams aren't doing that for away teams, so it must be TV.
Or are they still doing the crowd noise?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's the TV. Oh,
was that by Fox or was that by at the ground?
That's by Fox, wasn't it?
Oh, I don't know. Anyway.
Didn't have to be.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. Tristan said, makes me think about that funny posted article with the Gronk disqualified from the tournament for using mini Mars bars. Years of this shit means that even the most casual of Dragons fans know that if you're going to go mini, you don't even take them out of the bag. Haha. There we go.
Is that it for tweets?
Yes.
Warriors 26 to feed the West Tigers 20 at the SCG. The Warriors 26 came through, tries to Carl Lawton, a double to Peter Hiku and Tohu Harris. It was almost a hat trick to Hiku as well. Tohu Harris with a try. Nikorima 4 of 4 conversions and a penalty goal. The Tigers 20 tries to Mbai and Nofaluma, McIntyre and Tommy Talau conversions. Mbai 1 of 2 and Benji got 1 as well. Another highly entertaining game. Another game where the Tigers came out looking dominant. And then eventually it fell away. And then the second half in particular, absolute nightmare fuel for fans of the West Tigers.
It's just interesting that for such a fucking disciplined coach like Madge is, and if anything, that's been to his detriment over the years. Like the stories of him, remember he was overtraining them.
Yes.
At South and bringing players in when they had other commitments and was just working them and working them and working them.
Yeah, burn guys out.
Yeah, they look as if they actually don't have a proper idea of what they should be doing in certain important situations in the game. Like it almost just seems to be that, inexperienced team or lower grades team. Just okay, you got some guys that can run and pass and kick, but there's no cohesion there in putting an 80-minute plan together and what you're going to do to wear this other team down and make them vulnerable.
The thing is, though, I mean, Madge can burn guys out or not or whatever the fuck he wants to do, but for the last couple of weeks, the period since the corona shut down the competition, he's been just fucking just punitively punishing. Like he drops fucking Benji, and then he rolls with Brooks and Reynolds for a little while, and that worked for a little bit, and then that didn't work, and Reynolds gets suspended. So he's like, okay, so Reynolds is gone. So then Benji's back, but no, now we're dropping Luke Brooks in, and we're going with Walters and Benji, and he keeps chopping and changing, but he's doing it so quickly. He's not really allowing any time for these new combinations to settle in, and because it's like if someone in the halves has one bad fucking game, they can find themselves dropped out of the 17 entirely.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's it. And that seems to be less Madge-like. And maybe it's because he's got more options. He's got pieces. He's got a number of pieces that he can fit into those two holes.
Yep.
Maybe he thinks, well, fuck it, I'll just chop and change and just see what works. But man, it's after halfway through the season.
The interesting thing is, you're absolutely right. If you look at that first half, the Tigers completed that first half at 96%.
Mm-hmm.
10 missed tackles, only 2 errors. They were up there in all of those stats that tend to matter in games like this, but just didn't have the cohesion or long-term plan there to really put the Warriors away. And this is a team that, again, have every fucking reason to have mentally checked out. And
like they have every other week.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's like that. I feel like they need to be invited into a game deep enough.
Yep.
To be like, oh fuck, actually, we're on this week.
Yeah, exactly.
It's on, and then they,
Anyway.
Hit some tweets.
Dominic.
No doubt they'll be salty.
I don't know if salty is a word, but Dominic said Chris Lawrence winding himself and the Warriors getting penalised for it still couldn't stop the mighty Warriors roll through these cunts. 15 Warriors plus 2 Eels and a Panther equals Tigers sucking my dick from the back. It's your fault for Ashford, you flops. Hashtag never forget. Underused insult. You flops. It's fucking great. Michael said, how many will Madge drop next week? Can't cunt the whole team to the sidelines. Yeah, close. Matt said, as a Tigers fan, I've never been more disappointed. At Warriors Suck Balls on Twitter said, Peter H, 2 pies, Tohu H, Panther Jack H, so good, August, Ice or Rocks, hashtag Hiku Haiku. Yeah, that's a better one. Our good mate King Levius said, Warriors win and Broncos somehow lose to that Sharks team. Fucking rugby league, what a sport. Broncos are so shit, I'm going to organise a Bunnings sausage sizzle to raise funds for the Firehawks to take over Lang Park. I feel you are succumbing to the hate is more powerful than love narrative. That has been well in play. And at Rick the Warden on Twitter said, Todd Payton revenge game. There you go. Was that you that showed me that article a little while ago?
Which one is
that said that anyone that ever calls themselves a Rick is actually a Jerry? Like,
no, that wasn't me that showed you that, but I mean that sounds like a valid scientific concept.
There was somebody who showed it to me, and it was like calling yourself a Rick is the most Jerry move in the entire universe. And let's be frank, the West Tigers are the fucking Jerry of the NRL.
Yeah, they are. They're fans of the Jerrys of NRL fandom.
Correct.
Yep. I hear you.
That's it.
Spoiled by Levius, but the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks 36 defeated the Broncos 26 at Suncorp Stadium. The Sharkies 36 came through tries to Mulatalo, Talakai, Jackson Ferris, Sione Katoa, Tracy, and Hamlin Ueli. Sean Johnson 6 of 6 conversions. The Broncos 26 came through a double to Katoni Staggs, a double to Richie Kenner, and Reece Kennedy also with the try. Katoni Staggs 3 of 5 conversions. This game was one of the most perfect games of football as a neutral person to watch.
Yes.
Reason? Well, for starters, the Sharks were behind and looked terrible enough that this was very embarrassing for them. But on the flip side, the Broncos really, really, really thought they were going to win. And so did their fans.
Yes,
and then the fact that they didn't, mwah, chef's kiss. That is the Salt Bay in its ultimate fucking form.
It was almost going to be as great as when when the Knights lost to the Dogs.
Yes.
Like who the fuck was going to lose to the Dogs, and it had to be them.
Yep.
As a Broncos, heel, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess you'd
hater.
Say. Yeah, hater. I will confess, though, that there was a little bit for them to be positive about in this game. For 60, 65, maybe 70 minutes of this game,
yeah,
that was them almost playing to somewhere near the potential that they have. The issues that they had a lot of the time was that they didn't capitalise on moments.
Yes.
Like Xavier Coates is there fucking trying his guts out on every single kick return that he has a take on, but it dies with him.
Yeah.
Like, you see other teams and successful teams, a massive fucking effort like that from one of your outside backs, and not just a hard carry, that's your fucking job. But those really great ones where he takes a ball and then runs around the first defenders there, and you end up starting your set on the 40 or 30, or whatever it is. That should galvanise the rest of the team to be like, oh, fuck, here's an opportunity. Get in and getting it in. And Brisbane do nothing with those sets. Then you look at things like their supposed chief playmaker. When Milford has a broken field in front of him, he's not running. Like, he's doing a couple of those little, Milford things where we'll run and stop and stutter every game. But you remember, even last year, but especially the year before, when there was a fucking disjointed defensive line, Anthony Milford, even in a shitty Broncos team, and even when he wasn't performing as a $1 million half for most of the game, in broken field play, he was about the most dangerous player in the NRL. And that's just completely gone out of his mindset. That's the worrying thing. I don't know if he's playing injured. There's been that many fucking stories about him or what's wrong with him.
Yeah, I mean, in this occasion, I think it might have been injury because they were saying that he's succumbed to some sort of hamstring injury or something now, and apparently that hamstring injury is just the logical next step in a slighter hamstring injury that he's been nursing the last fortnight.
Yeah.
So,
but
that's 2 weeks. That's 2 weeks of excuses, though. That's not
correct.
2 fucking seasons of excuses.
Yeah, exactly. But you look across, like, even when Mulitano scored his fucking big breakaway try, the fact that it was Flegler that chased and almost fucking got him, if it wasn't for the collar on his jersey fucking coming off, or that's the sort of shit that as a Broncos fan you'd want to see.
Yeah.
That's someone trying their absolute fucking guts out for the team. But to Cronulla's credit, they were good enough when it counted. And when it counted was after a fucking dropout. Just 3 tries.
It only took them a couple of minutes to get it to get the game back from the breach.
Yeah.
So it was amazing, and so it was it just speaks to the it's a testament to the mental or the lack of mental fortitude the Broncos have, that the Sharks knew when they got the first one that the second and third ones were on. And that the Broncos gladly obliged. When that first one was scored, they look at the clock and they're like, fuck, the Sharks have got enough time. Therefore, the game has gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Because after that, the tries that were scored were quite, they weren't incredible tries. The Broncos had defended, fairly well up until that point. But even Darius had some fucking moments. If you want to speak about like overall effort of the side,
like you look at the try assists he threw.
Yep.
If you looked at this game in isolation and said to somebody, that guy there was a great player. What was it, 5 years ago?
Yeah.
And he's now a fucking elder statesman playing in a young man's position, doing his best. They'd go, yep, fucking see that.
Yep.
Not out of the question. But the thing is, though, for these Broncos, are they too far gone? Like, if this game had happened 3 rounds ago, I reckon next week you get the massive fucking bounce back and they come back, build on this performance, and they work towards a win. I think this just multiplies the head fuckedness. All of the positives in this mean fuck all now. Because they're too far.
I would agree, but for the fact that this week they're looking to get Fafita and Lodge back. So perhaps they can build on that, and maybe Fafita brings something. I mean, or maybe he doesn't, because, hey, he's fucking leaving them.
Exactly.
So, maybe his return isn't the massive positivity boost that they're looking at, because, their players looking to try and find a way to follow him out the door now.
Exactly.
So, did you hear that story about Pingu today?
That he wants out too?
Yeah, but apparently he's been contacting people in Sydney and coaches and things like that, trying to find a way out. I think they've got him for another season or 2 seasons after this. So there'd have to be some kind of fuckery going on, to get him released. But word is, he's been trying to get out. Take it with a grain of salt. It was Fox that reported it. Like, some of those guys like, Kent or fucking Hooper or one of them. But, who knows? Like you said before, where there's smoke.
Yeah, that's it.
Hit some tweets.
We'll give the first one on that to Sharky Dave. He said, what a game. Broncos fans thought they finally had broken through for a win. Then the Sharks played for 9 minutes and took it away from them. Shame that. Very funny. Cruzy said, another week, another L. I feel like we have a team full of Paul Gallons. That's about what you are. That's the level of fucking cunt circus that your team is.
Paul Gallen fucking tried, though.
No, he didn't. Fuck him. Don't give him any credit for anything.
I'll give him credit for trying.
Mm.
And I can't. And all I'm saying is I can't say the same about the entire Broncos side.
Yeah, exactly. Graham said Wade is a fucking freak. As a Panthers fan, I wish nothing but pain and misfortune for Matt Elliott. Oh, no. He fucking hurts, hey. Clevo said probably the bravest win an NRL side has had all season, considering it's actually the New South Wales Cup Jets with Wade and SJ. What an honour to cheer these heroes home. Starting to sense a fucking theme here. They're coming back.
They're coming back.
Mitch in the Facebook group said, big props to the Sharks, clearly the superior team, but smart enough to keep playing with their food up until the 60th minute. Give the Murdoch media-owned team a sniff. I can see a few more high-rating, free-to-air Friday night football spots in the Sharks' future. Very good business sense from an elite team who know the real picture is bigger than the ladder. Okay. Steve said that's even
fucking
better
bullshit.
than seeing them pumped 50-0. Give them a sniff that they're going to win, then rip their hearts out and finish them off with a pegging. Cameron said, thanks for breaking my heart again, Broncos, you motherfuckers. Phil said, Farnsworth is playing great, but obviously not too smart. You're supposed to put the good performances before you sign the contract. There you go. And Toto TV, get the final word with the only good thing out of this is he's looking forward to the This Week in League Brisbane Grand Final meetup. Nice.
More on that later. Where are we? The Roosters 18 defeated the Titans 12 at the SCG. The Roosters 18 came through tries to Joey Manu and Mitch Orbison. Flanagan with 2 conversions and 3 penalty goals, defeating the Titans 12. Tries to Anthony Don and Philip Sammy. Ash Taylor a conversion and a penalty goal.
Another strange fucking game. Strange fucking game. The old cliche rings true that, you know, one of the sides turned up to play and one of them looked like they may have expected to win. The Roosters, I think you could accuse of being a little bit lackadaisical. The Titans opened with a cracking pace, and if it wasn't for a little bit of misfortune, or, more than that, depending on how you look at it, the Titans really should have opened them up early on.
Yep.
Looking at what they did, though, for the first 2 tries in this game, the Roosters scored them when the Titans had a man in the bin.
Yeah.
So they weren't able to actually crack the Titans when it was full team on full team. And I guess that goes to show the importance. The Roosters have had their injury troubles, but, you know, the guys they've got out have really been the heart and soul of their offense in just how crisp it's been. Because it didn't look like they'd slowed down too much. It just looked like the decisions weren't automatic. You know, that Roosters team, when they're flowing and when they're at their best, they know what's going to happen. It's almost unconscious in how they execute. But you can almost see them just sort of stuttering a little bit and needing to think about what they're doing instead of it just coming to them naturally. And that's to be expected. Unfortunately, Flano Jr.'s paid the ultimate price for this one. He's been dropped this week. But with the Roosters, the thing about having a team like you do is that the fucking brilliance just shines through. So when you're having these off periods, it's just the pure fucking class and footballing ability of people like Teddy. Joey Manu had an absolute fucking blinder of a game. Like that tackle he put on to save the try was absolutely fucking world class. I love seeing shit like that. Then you get the fucking Titans, who while the Roosters were doing Roosters quality shit, the Titans were doing Titans quality shit.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where instead of a player having a fucking absolute game-changing try-saving tackle, you get AJ Brimson dropping the ball over the line.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get Titans in the second half with a golden fucking opportunity right on the try line, a 6 again call, and Peachy just absolutely fucks the play and puts a kick in on tackle 1.
Yeah.
just absolute dumb shit like
just
that.
Just brainless shit, yeah.
Exactly. The Roosters, to me, are starting to look a little bit tired, as if maybe that pace they were playing with and that intensity they were playing with earlier in the season isn't untenable. I
just think that it's a lull at the right time of the season for a team if you want to have a lull. They got a bunch of injuries and shit as well. And I know that Flanagan's been dropped for this week, but I mean, bringing in Lamb as like a replacement, it gives him an opportunity to sort of claim the spot for his own or whatever. But I also think it's an opportunity as well, like for just some mid-season experimentation when it's not going to cost them dearly, in the short term. But like it might be tired, but it might just be tired. The guys on the field being tired of having to carry the team, and patch over the holes that they have at the moment through injured players and stuff like that. So
that's it.
But they've been making a lot of fucking mistakes, like uncharacteristically. That's really the entire thing that puts them in the positions when they get in these closer game or losses or those periods, like even against teams like Parramatta where they sort of were asleep for sort of 10-15 minutes after half time and then came back. And the way they almost came back, it was the week before the game against Canberra where they were in front and comfortable at half time. They sort of had a bit of a lull. Canberra got in the lead, and it still looked like the Roosters were going to finish over the top of them, but they just didn't quite, get there.
Yeah.
So I think that part there is probably a bit of a problem with the injuries. But I think they're mentally not as sharp as they need to be at the back end of the season anyway, especially if they want to challenge for this three-peat. But it's the mistakes that are killing them, though.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's almost as if there's a higher level of fatigue that sets in earlier in these games. The only questions that I had over the Roosters at the beginning of the season was the age of some of their players. Jake Friend.
Yeah, I think it's more mental. I think it's like more mental though.
Yep.
And the one coach in the competition, or one of a few coaches in the competition, I'm not going to sort of second guess of their processes and the way that they do things, and especially the way that they sort of stage their entire seasons, is Trent Robinson. Because I mean, who can fucking say? Who's going to tell that guy he doesn't know how to manage a team through an entire season to have him firing at the right end of the season? So
exactly.
So maybe he's not pushing them, to be as mentally tough as they need to be at the end of the season, because that's something he'll work them up towards. But obviously with the dropping Flanagan, he's obviously not happy though.
No, not at all. And Hammers in the Facebook group said, for real though, if the Titans could just learn to do things like hold the fucking ball for consecutive sets, they might actually challenge the Tigers for 9th. Maybe they will. Nigel said, heroic victory by the boys today with their backs against the wall up against a team of $1 million players. I think there should be an asterisk on that S. Is anyone else in the Titans on $1 million? Just Ash?
Just Ash.
Just Ash. Norts said, we dragged the Roosters down to our level. Henry had some shit calls, but can't refs fault it. We had our chances and didn't take them. Hashtag so brave. Nick said, Roosters' injury list is intense. No wonder they haven't won a comp in nearly 10 months. Haha. Nathan said, 2 attempts at goal during a Titans sin bin. Hashtag fucking my multi. On to the next one. Right.
The Canberra Raiders 14 defeat the Cowboys 12 at the Abattoir up in North Queensland. The Raiders' tries came through George Williams and Curtis Scott. Croker 2 of 2 conversions and a penalty goal, defeating the Cowboys 12. Tries to Reece Robson and Jason Taumalolo, and a couple of conversions to Kyle Felt.
Again, the fucking... I guess, look, it wasn't a fucking bizarro round because they weren't full of upsets, but just teams winning games that probably should have won them. But Jesus fucking Christ, doing it the hard way.
Yeah.
Canberra continued their run of really just making things difficult for themselves.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, that run has resulted in... Like, remember, when Hodgson was injured, a month ago or whenever it was... Yep. It was kind of a fucking okay season over, right? But then I don't think they've lost since.
Yeah, That's it.
So they've actually, even if they're just scraping over the Cowboys, I mean, they're still doing a good job of just getting 2 points when they need it.
They
waiting for some troops.
But just for the Cows, I remember I was sitting there watching this game, and I felt sad watching Jordan McLean. Like, just how fucking good he was before he went to the Cowboys. And I know he's had some fucking cruel injuries and an unfair run of those things. But he was close to the fucking most damaging forward close to the line before he went to the Cowboys. And just hasn't been the same since. The Cows were in this one, I think, more so because of some lazy Canberra defence rather than anything else.
Yep.
But for the Raiders, Williams is playing well. Papali's playing out of his fucking skin. Whiten's playing, like he can be, just an unpredictable potential game breaker all the time. Again, I'm not sure that there's too much of a cohesive plan. It just all seems to be a little bit ad hoc.
Yeah.
As if it's all just based around that fucking like last year they had it was either the BJ and Rapina special or Whiten had pulled something fucking magical out.
Yep.
Which is unfortunate because with the cattle they've got, they should be one of the better grinding teams in the NRL. To get that fucking forward pack with Papali, who is, I would wager to say, is the most game-changing forward playing at the moment. There are other forwards that are having great seasons, putting in fantastic performances, playing massive minutes, putting up massive stats. But there aren't too many forwards who, when the game is on the line, can come up with a play like Papali's done multiple times this year.
Yeah.
But again, like you've said, they're winning games, and 2 points is 2 points, especially in fucking Rona season 2020. That's all that really fucking matters.
Exactly.
John.
Penrith. Oh, sorry, I forgot about the tweets. Go ahead.
That's right. John said Bateman reminded every frittata on Raiders fan pages that he creates more opportunities in attack than anyone else in the team. He even made Scott look good. How dare he choose his family over the Raiders? Yeah, fuck it. It was a shame, hey. He looks fucking good.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten how much I love that guy. Craig said, wish the Cowboys would start playing a grind instead of always trying to emulate the Thurston Bowen era. Kicking on first play from a scrum in opposition territory, for fuck's sake. That is correct. Josh said, nice to see Scott return to form. I thought Bateman was lacking mongrel early on. A lot of errors thanks to what looked like Wankbest's old ripped up turf. Ivan said, wish we'd stop playing to the level of our opponents. Made hard work of that game. Rapiner at the back was the only spark we had. On to the fucking match of the round.
The Panthers 42 defeated the mighty Manly Seagulls 12 at Brookie. Panthers had a double to Staines. Cleary, Yo, Crichton, Naden and Coruscant tries. Cleary 6 of 7 conversions and a penalty goal. Manly tries to Jake Turbo and George Tafua. Garrick 2 of 2 conversions.
Close to fucking flawless.
Yeah, for the first time this season, they actually put it together. And for pretty much the entire game. Yes. Certainly for like the longest period of a game.
Yes.
There were no real periods, there were no real lapses, and the completions were like super high. Like I didn't see the percentage, but I think it was something like 41 or 45 or something like that. I mean, it was fucking high, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Taken over at the end, and it was like the most complete performance that they had, and they've been down for a couple of weeks, but they've also been down Coruscant and Kickout for a couple of weeks too, which it was almost a direct correlation to it, obviously. Then really that's all. That's all. I mean, Manly didn't actually play badly in the first half, and if it wasn't, and the main difference was. There's too many fucking passengers in there that aren't up to the standard. And when I say that, I'm talking about regrettably, George, although it's not necessarily his fault, things that happen, but he gets hung out to dry a lot. But particularly, fucking Lachlan Croker and Brad Parker. Now I fucking love Brad Parker because there is almost undoubtedly no player in the NRL today that gives as much or gets as much juice out of the fucking stone that he has of talent.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he gets more out of the talent that he's been given than fucking any other player. Problem is, he doesn't have a lot. And also, I mean, we've got, there's some legendary players that we can talk about in this vein, like Liam Fulton, and in fact, in this game, Isaiah Yeo. Legendary fucking players at getting concussed.
Yes.
Just for multiple concussions and not knowing their children's names and shit like that. But I've never seen a player. He doesn't have the volume of concussions of his peers, but what he does have in spades is numerous interesting and creative ways and different ways to get fucking knocked out whenever it does happen. I mean, he can slip over and fucking hit his head on the ground and knock himself out. He can get coat hanger and knocked out. Yep. He can fucking get elbowed in the head while defending and get knocked out. His knockout game is probably second only historically to fucking Mick Crocker when he fucking got knocked out by getting a football kicked in his head. And unfortunately, with the early injury to Dylan Walker and then Parker out as well early in the piece, what you're left with is a fucking fringe back rower who's also not good enough, a bench back rower playing in centre on the side of the field where you fucking got guys that like to charge out of line and shit anyway, and it's just never going to fucking end well. But I mean, having said that, despite all of that and what they were up against, if fucking Lachlan Croker didn't play rugby league like what he thought he should do and he actually just played what was there, that would have, half time would have been like 22-12 and it's still fucking game on. But instead, he throws a fucking massivest intercept ever, which results in a penalty on the other end, and then it's like, 24-6 and it's fucking pretty much game over at that point. So, it's frustrating, but I can't wait until we get some of these young guys in, and I'm hoping that that's going to start happening now, because I see for the first time in history that I can see is that Albert Hopewade, who absolute junior star, he's in the 21, I think, for the first time. So hopefully that means that's a reward for his training, and like, look, the pathway's open. I'd love to see him get a try this week, but that's the main thing. I mean, where Penrith have people that contribute pretty much across the park, Manly's got a couple of massive contributors, but then they've fucking got to drag along these other cunts that just aren't good enough at the moment with the injuries. So
yeah, look,
karma has worked out well though. With Dylan Walker gone, that means Custer's back and he's got the position for at least 6 weeks. So it's funny the way things work out. And as I was saying the other week, that the thing about Desi, he's kind of risk averse, but in terms of selections of players. But the other thing about Desi is, and it's a double-edged sword, he shows enormous faith in players and enormous loyalty in players, and then that manifests itself in super strong bond of team, playing for each other. And also when it comes to contract time, that super strong bond of team, they want to stay together. And that's when guys start saying, yeah, okay, we'll take less to keep the group together and all that sort of thing. But the flip side of that as well is that things like Croker, like that motherfucker shouldn't be there. And he's proven repeatedly over the last month in particular why he shouldn't be there. But yeah, he's still fucking there.
And here's the thing. I think Manly could have been almost at their fucking best.
Yeah, I don't think it would have really mattered anyway.
And it wouldn't have. Penrith went into this game with the best defence of the league in terms of how many points they concede per game. And there wasn't too much that was going to change that. In terms of their mindset, when they got a very early penalty and decided not to take the 2, that was a nice positive step. This Panthers team, again, hasn't been mentally strong enough to do things like that in the past, because they'd do that, have 3 sets, wouldn't score any points, absolutely head fuck themselves, and then probably let in a try the next set after that and just fuck themselves for the rest of the game. In terms of personal battles, Fish absolutely fucking owned TWiL. Like, just in terms of never going away. You know, Fisher Harris, like, you remember the game against Parramatta. He had that big fucking run up. He had that big collision with RCG and he fell on his ass. But he got up and he kept going back and kept going back and kept going back. And that's how he's getting up over his opponents this year. And it's such a fucking great thing to see. He's just saying to them, I will not go away. Whenever you have the ball, I will be up in your fucking guts. I will run straight and fucking hard at you anytime that ball comes to me, and I will do it over and over and over again. You will get no fucking rest from me. Then, looking at fucking Yeo, like, he's, if not the most underrated player in the league at the moment, the most underrated player ever in the history of sport. You know, the guy with the fucking limp and the gimpy leg that ran in the original fucking marathon in fucking the Battle of fucking Salamis or whatever it was, or the Battle of fucking Marathon probably, I don't know, when the fucking Greeks used to run it with their dicks flopping out.
Yeah, I think it was the battle. I think the battle which carried its name.
Then he was less fucking underrated than Isaiah Yeo.
Well, that guy was rated just perfectly, I think. I mean, he ran pretty far, and then he fucking died after conveying the message he was carrying.
Which is pretty much what he does. He runs hard and fucking frittatas himself at the end of a fucking session. Looking at the Crichton try as well. Absolute fucking shit cunt defense from DCE. And that's the sad thing about him. Like, I know I rag on DCE a lot, just because he's an absolute socially awkward, annoying piece of shit human being. The fucked up thing for Manly fans must be that he's fucking so solid most of the time, but then it's just these epic fucking blow-ups where he fucks up collecting the Cleary kick to give 6 again, and then when fucking Crichton, when it goes through, like, he's there, could have fucking wrapped up the ball that Kickow had, stopped the offload, kills the play, absolutely fucking dead. He put his hand on Kickow's back. Made no fucking attempt to wrap the ball up, no fucking attempt for a tackle. It's that very fucking Warriors-esque thing of, up the ball's past me, my job's done. And that's gotta fucking burn. So that's there. But, you know, all in all, everyone in that Penrith team did their job as close to fucking perfection as you could ask for at this point in the year. My concern for this team is how Ivan keeps up that level of intensity.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. It's way too fucking early, I think.
Yes.
And there are teams, and Penrith don't. That's about peak Penrith right there, which is very fucking good. Mm-hmm. But we haven't seen anything near peak Roosters or Storm yet.
I think
we won't see it from them for another 2 months.
See, we saw peak Roosters, I think, the first couple of rounds after resumption, because they'd had such a poor start. You know, Robinson had them fucking firing. Like, when they were just putting shellackings on teams every single week, that I think was close to peak Roosters. Yeah, you're right though. Peak Storm, we're going to sort of see maybe 3 weeks out. But Penrith's got 8 weeks that they've got to keep this intensity up to keep this thing running into the finals. We'll see.
And shout out to Charlie Staines, who can go now. He's got plenty of time to go and, you know, BNS and fucking eating bats with his fucking country ass mates.
That's it.
With no downside now.
That's
the Eels. Oh no, the tweet. Sorry.
Fat Harry Lazy said there is no need for Nate to get pegged. No matter how big the strap-on is, it wouldn't do the damage that young Cleary did prolapsing those cucks. Hashtag Eerie of Cleary. Conan said, hashtag Eerie of Cleary has indeed gone mainstream. It got a shout-out in the call on ABC Grandstand.
Really?
Fucking, that's
Wow.
phenomenal.
I would like someone to, if they possibly could. I don't know how easy it would be to do so, but I wonder if someone could actually provide us with that soundbite.
Yes. Have to be easy. Fucking go and do it.
And who was the commentary team was it Matty Elliott that used it?
Fuck, I hope it was. Fuck.
I tell you what, this
Crystal Merchant.
I can't remember which game it was on the weekend. It was one of the Sunday games. Must have been the Storm. It was the Storm game, yeah, because I was talking about the Knights. You know, we talk about commentators and, you know, who the good ones are and who the shit ones are and who the ex-players, etc. are, and that are just absolutely fucking retarded and can't string two words together. Nathan Brown. Oh, my God. He is a fucking retard. He cannot string two words together. Holy shit. He's fucking, like, people always complaining about Braith and Blocker and all this. He is fucking 10 times worse than both of them.
Really?
And this is a guy who I would have thought would be an excellent communicator, given that he was a first grade coach, given that he's had plenty of time to fucking get his. He was on with Ganane and I think Wendell maybe on the Triple M doing the call.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, and he's talking about a subject that he's intimately aware of in the Newcastle Knights, because that was the game they were calling.
Yeah.
But still, despite that, and fucking hopeless. I just had to get that in there because I just thought of it then. But yeah.
Fair enough. James said, and I'm spent. What a performance. What a game. What a team. Hashtag Eerie of Cleary. Hashtag Panthers with the answers. Hashtag Cherry Poppin' Clearys. Ryan said, I'm drunk, I'm depressed, and I feel like I've been mentally pegged by a 12-inch black rubber cock. Hashtag fuck my life. Hashtag century of DCE rolls on past this major speed hump. P.S. Why does Croker always get picked over Cust? He's obviously not the reason we lost, but he's utterly useless. There you go. Mitch said, Appy Coruscant was the difference. Whoever the Panthers got him from must be kicking themselves. To which our good mate Shunter replied, they took a stab at replacing him, but that didn't work out. I'll tell you, that's the other thing. You know what's fucking glorious? Like, the downside of Penrith being the junior nursery of every fucking rugby league team in the world is that we never had any revenge games. All we had were cunts that we'd shit-canned or made unhappy or done something to fuck off that went out there and played for other clubs and proceeded to fuck us up every opportunity when they played against us. How fucking great for us to have an Appy and sexy good bloke revenge game.
Yeah, and I mean, and then it'll be next year. It'll become a double revenge game when Appy's the hooker for the Dogs and Trent's his coach, and then they've also the Dogs have got the fucking anti-Desi thing going on their side as well.
Exactly,
and it's going to be like this like quadruple fucking quintuple revengerama.
Fucking revengeception. Alistair said, think I'm ready to admit that it might actually be the Eerie of Cleary. It was absolutely fucking beautiful. That's it.
All right. The Eels, 18, defeated the Doggies 16 at ANZ Stadium. The Eels tries to double to Gutherson and try to Moses. Moses 3 of 3 conversions. The Doggies 16 came through, tries to Fatala, Mariner, Avarillo and Montoya. Avarillo 2 of 3 conversions.
I'd love to know what it's taken for the Dogs to actually, pick up and fucking put in for 80 minutes. Because they sure as shit weren't doing it for Dean Pay. This is almost like do you remember they went up that notch after they couldn't make the 8 last year? They did that Dogs thing of like just beating
this
teams.
Year it's this year it's the fact that they could conceivably deliver Brisbane a wooden spoon.
Yeah.
If they just keep putting in. This was a game that got away. I'm not saying that they should have won. I mean, the Eels dropped off in this game. Yes. They were up significantly. They were leading by 3 tries, and then they just kind of fell asleep. But the Doggies, they did rise.
They certainly did.
They did lift, and they put themselves in a position to steal this game. And my number one enduring memory of this fucking game And I said it on social media after the game as well. It actually, I had to go to Google because, like, I'm thinking, I'm watching what's going on in the field. I'm thinking, well, fucking obviously, Kieran Foran's like the leader of this team.
Yep.
Without a doubt. But I'm like, who is he actually the captain or is he not the captain? And I actually had to Google it because I fucking couldn't remember who the captain was. So then it turns out it's Josh Jackson. Josh Jackson needs to kick Aiden Tolman's cunt in for that fucking quick tap from like 12 metres out.
Yeah.
In what fucking universe does a prop forward get to fucking decide that they're going to try and catch the defence napping?
Yeah, exactly.
When you're down by 2 and you've got to gimme fucking 2 points. And Doggies fans, don't fucking at me because I've seen a couple of people trying to that for some reason they love the blonde cunt and they're trying to fucking justify that, oh yeah, but you know, then they would have just gone down and kicked a field goal. You would have made them fucking play.
Yeah.
They would have had to do something.
Exactly.
And they weren't doing it then because you still had about 3 sets after that where you didn't do anything either. Maybe it could have been you kicking the fucking field goal.
Spot on.
When the game is fucking tight and you've got a free 2 points to level it, to take the loss off the table, you fucking take it.
Yeah.
You dumb blonde cunt. Fucking hell. It actually triggered me and I don't give a fuck about this team.
I'm more concerned with, for these Eels, at the beginning of the season, their right side attack, especially with Moses running a short side play, was fucking scary to watch. Like they had Sivo over in the left hand side, and he was going to score fucking an abundance of tries this year. It was just always going to happen. But watching fucking Moses run that right side, the way he just went straight at defensive lines and had people either side of him and could throw as well either side without giving away with the motion of his body. I don't know where these Eels are getting their points from now. That's been my concern for the last couple of weeks.
Look, I'm going to put out, not a theory, I'm going to put out a take right now.
Go for it.
The Eels are fucking plateaued. They're peaked.
Yes?
I think they are fucked. They're going to win plenty of games and do plenty enough to get into the second last week of the finals, most probably. But I think they've gotten very fucking pass it to Mikery lately. Like it used to be pass it to fucking who else was the Fiji? I can't remember. Semi. couldn't remember his fucking name. I see who's that other fucking Fijian out there. They used to pass it to out on the left all the time with no shit. They've gotten very pass it to Sivo, and Sivo has been fairly well fucking contained by many teams.
Yeah.
Over the last while as well. So that's not necessarily a guaranteed or successful way to do things.
He ended Teddy, which was disrespectful.
Well, yeah, but then he got ended by fucking Brad Parker, which is, so what do you call that?
Yeah, that's true. He did too. Fuck.
I mean, Brad Parker even took him out of the game.
Jesus Christ.
Not just out of a try scoring opportunity. So I just feel look, maybe they've backed off a bit. Maybe Arthur knows he knows what he's doing, and he's not. They're still grinding out wins, so he's not pulling the panic switch over it or anything like that. And they'll just work their way through it as they adapt to Moses being back, after his injury, and things will start to pick up and roll again.
Yeah, fair.
There's plenty of time for him to do it. But man, they got to fry it, and they deserve to lose the game, and they only won it by virtue of the fact that the Doggies have talentless players.
Yes.
Who just couldn't lift. I mean, Foran is playing a fucking monster of a season.
Yes.
He's back. He's back. The problem is his body's not, and I don't think he can sustain it. For long periods of time.
Yeah, that's it.
But his fitness has come back, and he's fucking back. He only needs probably 2 more players to go with him.
Yeah,
and they just don't have him.
Yeah, spot on. And unfortunately, you now have an idea, and I'm addressing this to all of the fucking Dogs fans that were chirpy when DWZ went over there last year.
Oh, they know. They've known all year.
I know they know. I'm just reminding them because it's fucking fun that they know.
Yeah.
You've done more than I ever thought you could with this situation. You now have play the ball the wrong way, DWZ, which directly led, like after he did that, Para scored the next set.
Yes.
Almost the next tackle.
Yep.
You know? And where did they fucking score it? Right out on his side. You're fucking welcome, dogs.
That whole play the ball backwards thing, though. Like, when's the last time we saw that? Was it before Super League?
Never, because, you know, they have general IQ tests.
I feel like I saw something. I feel like Martin Bella did it once or something, and like I'm talking like old shit. Does it happen like since then though?
There's been some pretty bad. Like I think I can remember a couple of sideways ones.
I remember. I know there's some where the guy kind of gets up and responsibly, the dummy half is like, "Can't you looking at me? Turn around."
Yeah, that's it.
I can't think off the top of my head. I can't think of another instance in recent history. I'm sure someone that's listening can tell us if there was though.
Ryan said, Para really took their foot off the gas. Very frustrating to watch a strong start turn into an arm wrestle like that. That is true. Hectic said, Aiden Tolman, dead set, has to be the dumbest footballer of all time. What a shocker of a decision to take that quick tap. John said, very unconvincing victory. The Bulldogs were willing to roll up their sleeves and work hard, and Parramatta looked disinterested after the first 25 minutes or so. The better teams will have a field day down our right edge. It's absolutely our Achilles heel at the moment. And as we like to do, we'll give the staunch their say on the game with at GT351_Johns. Says, inexperience got us today, along with poor decisions by us and a dopey ref. Oh well, I expected to lose by more. Twice this year, the fancied Eels just got us. Embarrassing for them. There you go.
The Melbourne Storm 26 defeated the Newcastle Knights 16 at Sunshine Coast Stadium in front of a bumper crowd of 5,437 disease-free Queensland residents who enjoyed a beautiful sunny day out at the football because they fucking can. The Storm's tries to Vernie, Cameron Smith, Pappenhausen and Fasu Malui and Smith, 2 of 2 conversions. Munster got one. 2 penalty goals to Munster. The Knights 16 tries to Bradman Best, Aiden Guerra and Anari Tuala. Ponga, 2 of 3 conversions. This game notable for, I can't remember the fucking exact statistic off the top of my head, but it's the first time since like, I think it was like the first time since like 2012 that Cameron Smith hasn't played at least half the game.
Yeah,
and it was and it was even longer than that. He hadn't played a second half of a game, so it was very, very new territory, seldomly visited territory for the Storm, and certainly in the the current incarnation, none of these guys have ever been there when it's happened in the past.
Yeah, fuck.
And look, they did a great job because I mean, like the Knights were well on top in the actual running of this game for almost the entire first half.
Yeah.
I mean, but for some absolute brilliance from Pappenhausen, where he just fucking destroyed Ponga, turned Ponga into a meme.
And wasn't that fucking brilliant, though? Like, you're 100% correct with that word. It gets used probably too much, but that was just pure athleticism.
It was just that athleticism and pace and footwork and just a vision. It was just fucking amazing. It's really hard. Like the second half of this game and watching it, it's really difficult to hate this Storm team as much as I used to. And it's making me think, like, when Captain Cuntox finally fucks off into the sunset, there's not going to be any remnant of the cunts left at that side. And then you look at like your Pappenhausens and Fox and these guys. I mean, like, Fasa Malui, we're not going to see him because he's gone to the Titans. What a fucking buy he is.
Yeah.
For the Titans.
Fucking
throw him in there with David Fafita, and you already got Foto Waika up there.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking
think of it as a full forward pack. It's sensational.
Their pack is, and like Tino, surely by the end of this season he's got to be playing Origin for Queensland. I mean, he is fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, not taking away anything from how well he's been playing, but who else is there? Who else has put their hand up?
Yeah, maybe. I prefer to light the candle and say, wow, that's a forward that Queensland could pick. That if he plays like that in Origin, I don't want to see him up against us.
Well, I'd prefer to say fuck everything Queensland do. And,
that too.
They deserve the worst in life.
They do. But that try he scored was fucking great. It wasn't like one of these short crash balls and a guy crashing in from like 3-4 meters out.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets that ball, it's sort of 15, 20 meters out.
Yep.
And just powers his way through the line.
Yeah, exactly.
And then finishes it off.
I've been very interested to see this transformation from Melbourne from that perfect, structured, methodical team into this team that really just puts some of its better players with these amazing skill levels in a position to do something with it. Now, obviously, the Pappenhausen try, that was just a fucking freak occurrence. No one did anything to really set him up for that. That was all him.
That was just broken play and genius vision and the rest of it, yeah.
That's it. But the Storm game plan recently just seems to be, keep things as tidy as you possibly can, play for field position, and something will unfold. And again, you can say all you want about cheating cunts or whatever it's been, but having multiple iterations of a team and a play style under the one coach with some of the same players, I think goes a long way for Bellamy's coaching greatness credentials. Yeah,
and I mean, like the Storm have been one of the last teams to really adapt to this new style, and they kept winning for the most part, and I think that was just through the fact that their defense is always great.
Yes.
And so they kind of hung in there through defense, but now, in this game in particular, it seemed to signal the turning of a corner, where now their attackers sort of has come up and adapted to the style as well.
And as you alluded to before, we're far from seeing peak Melbourne.
Yeah.
Lee said in the Facebook group, it doesn't get any better than watching Paps slight Ponga with the smallest of steps. # real fullback. Oh, fucking ouch. Super Grover said, # Faps for Paps. I'm not even sorry. You get a courtesy one this week. Danny.
What's he not sorry about, though?
I think he's not sorry about the quality of that fucking content because it's not good.
Yeah.
Danny said, at least
he's really struggled without the Origin break to just get all the shit out of his system mid-year, hasn't he?
It's like a fucking juice cleanse for gronkiness. Danny said, at least it wasn't a blowout like I feared. They had a bit of a go, but it felt like last week's effort carried into this week against the worst possible team you could put that effort up against. Ross said, every year you can bank on it. The Knights are by far the worst team on the last tackle with the ball as much without it. Yeah, it's not wrong. For all of his fucking feigned achievements, I thought that there would have been some better game management from Newcastle. At Cobra Burgers said, seriously, I don't get the Kalen Ponga hype, and he's added him on Twitter. Well done, not a coward. I don't get the Kalen Ponga hype nor the contract. If you're not paying for wins, then what are you paying for? You're not paying him to put butts in seats, because if the guy doesn't know how to play, who's coming to watch? Goose steps don't win games. It's both of us on record saying paying for potential is a bad thing, or overpaying for potential, I should say, is a bad thing.
But Newcastle fans, I mean, you probably didn't capitalise in the second half like you should have, but there's fucking periods of the first half there where, like, that Pappenhausen try was against the run of play, but that entire time, even when after that try, Newcastle was fucking well on top in that game.
Yeah, 100%.
So, like, it's not like this. it's like, some performance to get fucking down on. It was one of the better performances they've had in the last month.
That's it.
So, but, what do I give a fuck? I don't fucking care. Fucking implode. I don't give a shit. Do what you're going to do.
Well, now they've got Blake Green coming because that's what they needed.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Another half. I mean, like how many hookers have they expended? Like 5 in the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, that's it.
So what they do, they bring in another halfback, and I guess that means that, like, probably their best attacking player and probably their cheapest one in the form of Kurt Mann, he's probably the poor cunt's going to he'll be forced to play hooker, and then I guess Green and Pearce do something.
Who fucking knows? Wait and see.
Previews. First up on Thursday, we've got the St. George Illawarra Dragons versus the Sydney Roosters that win. The Dragons. They've got Clune returns from his HIA failure last week. Corey Norman, the big one, dropped to the reserves. And when I say the reserves, I'm talking jersey number 19. Trent Merrin returns to lock. And Jacob Host also dropped to reserves. The Roosters, what do they got? Josh Morris back in the centres. Tupanua back to the pack. Nate Butcher benched, and Saluka Fafita dropping to reserves. Lachlan Lamb has been promoted to the 7, with Kyle Flanagan being dropped entirely from the 21, and Drew Hutchinson to the bench.
The Dragons are playing with a fair bit of confidence at the moment, and that's coming off the back of both Dufty and for a large part Lomax. I think just looking at both of these teams head to head, there's just way too much fucking class in this Roosters team. There's way too much.
And also, I feel like while the Dragons form at the moment gives them the ability to have tremendously good moments and passages through this game, I think the Roosters' experience and mental fortitude allows them to ride that out and punish the Dragons when they inevitably have their dip.
In saying that, the Titans busted the Roosters up last week and really only lost that game because they couldn't find a way to fucking put the ball on the grass over the try line multiple fucking times.
Yeah.
If the Roosters have had the rocket up them that they deserve for that defence last week, this is a great opportunity for them to solidify.
I would suggest that they have.
Yeah.
Because when you drop Kyle Flanagan, who actually hasn't been playing that bad.
Yeah.
That's like he's been scapegoated for.
And realistically, it's Kiri's show anyway. So
yeah,
I'm going to tip the Roosters.
Same. The Mighty Manly Seagulls take on the Warriors at Brookie. What do we got here? Brad Parker obviously out via concussion. And I think Brad Parker, one more concussion this year, I reckon he's done.
You reckon?
Well, it seems like these days they're much more rigorous about just cautious about players' long-term health and things like that. And I reckon that's his third one this year. I mean, you can't have too many concussions in a year before you turn 100%. To fucking like a Liam Fulton vegetable.
Yeah, that's it.
So, but I mean, he's had a fucking couple as well, and over a number of years. So, I guess you just got to trust specialists and they'll tell you whatever. But it's CTE in your future, son. So Funa comes back in, which is a great move. Cust back in the side. Unfortunately, Lachlan Croker's still there as well. Alvin Hopewadi in 21. Let's get him in there. And Guacamole in the 18. Let's get him in there. How about that, Desi? I can't wait to see what happens with the next cut down to 19. If Hopewadi, this is my prediction. If he makes that cut down to 19, they're going to slide him in and give him a run. I don't know where, probably on the wing, but I'd love to see him to say, fuck it. You're a gun fullback. Get in there, lad. The Warriors. Blake Green is out because he's playing for Newcastle now.
Yes.
And that brings Chanel Harris-Tavita in. And if I remember anything from the Rugby League Live 4 streaming days, he is a terrible player. And and they're full of a bunch of a motley crew of other characters like Daniel Alvaro, George Jennings, and Jack Hetherington, as well as actual Warriors players.
Yeah. Manly.
Yeah. Win well or fucking wield the axe.
Yes, exactly.
The Rabbitohs take on the Broncos. ANZ Stadium. The Rabbitohs, no change to last week. So, I guess Reynolds is okay. I mean, it was kind of what they say it was. It was like a nerve thing, and it's like really just pain management, and it just sort of comes good after a little bit. It wasn't like a stinger, but it's like sort of a severe version of that. I think.
Exactly.
But yeah, okay. So he's back anyway, but man, he's brittle as shit. The Broncos. So Croft returns in the halves with Milford out injured. Fafita returns to the back row, which forces Offahan Gower to the bench, and Ethan Bullimore is out of the 17. The Broncos, they really did try and they really did lift last week.
Yeah.
It was one of their better... It was probably their best or second best performance since the resumption.
It was 70 minutes of, this Broncos team can jag some wins here.
Like against Manly early after the resumption, they played 30 minutes.
Yes.
Like that.
Then
they got to 70 minutes against the Shark, but that's like one full game worth and a bit out of, 10 fucking games?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not good enough. Can they replicate that again? The biggest problem is Brodie Cross back in the side.
Yes, he is.
Now, I'm not saying Milford is the be-all and end-all. Believe me, he hasn't been for years. But Brodie Croft, he's part of the problem.
Yes. 100%.
I'm kind of torn. Does David Fafita coming back give them some punch that will carry things in a positive direction? But does Croft, does he balance that the other? Does he level it out or tip the scales the other way? In any case, this is a game that the Rabbits have to win. I mean, remember that they're already down 1-0 to the Broncos this season because before the resumption, the Broncos were great, remember?
That's it. And they ambushed Souths.
They did. They did. So this is Benny's chance it's another revenge game.
That's it.
And he really does need to level the ledger.
Yeah, just based on form, I can't go against Souths here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I am still not convinced with Souths at all. However, against the Broncos, surely.
Yes.
Surely.
Correct.
The Storm take on the Doggies at Sunshine Coast Stadium. Pappenhausen has been rested. Cam Smith is out with the shoulder injury he sustained last week. And Marion Seve is out as well. So Justin Olam returns in the centres for Seve, while Nico Hines comes in to fullback to replace Pappenhausen. Cameron Smith's out, obviously, so Brandon Smith replaces him. And the new bench players are
Can the Storm,
Riley Jacks and Vetty. Yep.
Can the Storm call Harry Grant back early, or is it a guaranteed full season that he's got to spend at the Tigers?
Well, let's say let's speak about a hypothetical situation. Say, like I've got a couple of cars.
Yep.
Say your car broke down.
Yep.
You had a camping trip going. You're in a week's time.
Yep.
So you're like, can I borrow the ute?
Yep.
Sure, you can, because you need a 4-wheel drive. Whatever you're going camping.
That's it.
Or something like that. Sure, go for your life. But if the pug broke down, and I don't have any working cars left, I have to be like, dude,
got to get my kids to school.
I need to get the ute back because, got to get the kids to school, got to be able to get to the shops, got to get to meetings, blah, 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 blah.
So what you're saying is that they have every right.
So I think it would be the right thing for them not to have to ask. The West Tigers should look upon the situation and go,
correct.
You're in a situation here, you need the ute back.
Exactly.
So here, I'm a good bloke. Here's your ute back. Thanks for the loan. I really appreciate it and it was very handy. Mm-hmm. But I understand that you need to get your kids to school
Exactly.
or across the try line, as the case may be.
Exactly. And that my lack of an appropriate vehicle should not become your concern.
Exactly. So with Harry Grant to return to the Storm side this week, and like, of course, we can rely on Justin Pascoe to be a good bloke and do the right thing, can't we?
Yeah, 100%. Not a snake at all.
Look, I still think the Storm are going to win. Pappenhausen alone is not going to be the. Look, they did. There were adjustments that needed to be made in the second half of that game. I noticed with like Brandon Smith, as nuggety and as awesome as he is at what he does, he's not Cameron Smith.
No.
And certain things had to change, like they had to bring the players, they had to bring the first receivers in on either side of the ruck because he's not delivering crisp long balls and it took a little while for their back line to kind of get the timing and going again when Cameron Smith was off.
Yes.
But also Cameron Smith, look, as whatever my personal feelings about the guy are, as a guy, every time a player gets tackled, every time he's into dummy half, ready to go.
Yeah.
Brandon Smith is not quite up to that yet, and you'll see like Jerome Hughes getting, or Cameron Munster getting to do, things like that. So like the Storm can't underestimate the impact of not having Cameron Smith there for the first time in a fucking 600 years. But it's a doggy, so I mean, if you're going to have that impact sustained,
yes.
And the fact that impact is being sustained, and despite that, they're still resting Ryan Pappenhausen.
Yeah, spot on.
That tells you pretty much everything you need to know about the Storm organisation's confidence levels.
Exactly.
Going into this game.
Mm-hmm. Storm.
The Knights take on the Tigers at McDonald Jones. The Knights, Blake Green comes into the side before the ink's even dry.
Jesus.
Kurt Mann moves to hooker as expected. Chris Randall drops out of the 17. Bradman Best is out with an ankle injury, which I believe, not confirmed, but it could potentially end his season.
Oof.
And Tautau Monga has been dropped. Shibasaki's in, and what, in my opinion, is the greatest name in rugby league today, Starford Toa, are in. The Star Lord is in, and Brodie Jones comes in on interchange. If the West Tigers... I should actually... What do they change? Okay, so Harry Grant's out.
Oh, is he?
Well, that's right. Harry Grant's fucking out too. It's just to shut down that whole theory. Oh, well. TWiL's injured. Oliver Clark's drops. Umbai moves to hooker. Leilua and Talau are the centre pairing.
Yeah, okay.
Kapoa comes onto the wing. Eisenhuth the lock. Luke Brooks comes back into the side starting at 5'8". Chris Lawrence and Billy Walters benched. Russell Packer starting at prop. Fuck me, that's wholesale changes. And Luke Garner is out as well, and Sam McIntyre replaces him. So this back line for the West Tigers from 1 through 7 reads Dewey, Noffa, BJ, Talau, Kapoa, Luke Brooks, Benji.
Ooh.
This is the game the West Tigers need to win if they want to maintain an opportunity to claim their birthright of ninth.
Yeah. Well, but even for some fucking self-respect.
I feel like the Knights, hooking troubles aside, like they're beatable by the West Tigers.
Yeah.
But I think there's just too much. There's too much shuffling in the lineup.
Yeah. Yep, I got to tip the Knights.
Even though, and like I think Kurt Mann will do he'll do a fine enough job as hooker.
Yep.
I don't know what sort of issues are going to come in with Blake Green, and I mean it's a very short time for them to figure out how he's going to interact with the side, and he'll probably just get anchored to a side of the field with a charge. And like if he anchors himself to, let's say for argument's sake the right hand side of the field, then his mandate will basically just be pop it to Ponga out the back like they do anyway. If he does that, he's basically fucking Mitchell Pearce anyway.
Exactly.
And Pearce can go and pretend to be Kurt Mann and be good or something. But
yeah, look, I'm going to tip the Knights in this one, a close one.
Like you'd have to think the Knights going to win, right?
Yep.
You would have to. And Tigers, come on. Panthers take on the Raiders at Panthers Stadium. Malarkey back onto the wing for Charlie Staines.
Yep.
Nickel Klokstad returns the fullback for the Raiders. Rapin to the wing. That's it for changes.
Another danger game for Penrith. Just the Raiders are classically one of those teams that we tend to sort of play very well for vast majority of the game, but really just get bogged down in battles with. If they can continue some of the intensity that they had against Manly last week, then it
should win easily.
It's done and dusted. This Canberra team really aren't playing with any sort of major consistency at the moment, but it has to be done in the forwards. You know, if guys like Papali get a sniff that there's easy meters, they'll take advantage of them. And Canberra still have a lot of class in their backline. It just needs to be another clinical performance. Penrith completed it over 90% last week. They need to do something similar again this week, and really just control the game like they did last time. Control it from start to finish. Penrith 13+. Put your fucking hands
long way to say Penrith, 13+. The Titans take on the Cowboys at Hope Solo Coliseum. Lasoni replaces Sam Stone on the bench for the Titans. The Cowboys, Michael Morgan is back. Jake Clifford drops out. Hampton remains in the halves. Opacek is back, which pushes Justin O'Neill out to the wing. Talangi is out of the 21. Maguire returns from suspension, which means the murderous Frank Molo drops to the bench. Isn't it funny that they've got Frank Molo and Jordan McLean, like the most murderous player in the league, with someone who came like a fucking
fucking Bambi.
What do they call like with Jordan McLean? When they talk about spinal injuries and things like that, I mean, what is it like a micrometer away from being a murderer as well?
Yeah, true.
So the Cowboys should be straight up 187 killers.
Murder was the case.
But it was murder was the case for Frank, and it was like ducking the head was the case for Jordan McLean. But
oh fuck! Look,
the Titans in their last week incarnation, if they can put like that kind of a game together for 80 minutes, then they've got a great fucking chance.
Man, you know what? It's not even that. If the Titans can just get the fuck out of their own way, for half the game, just don't fuck yourselves.
Yep.
For half a game, that's it. That's all you got to do.
So really, your message is directly to the ears of Justin Holbrook to say, Peachy's in the 16. Leave him off the field.
Exactly.
Until the second half.
Exactly.
Or for greater than or equal to 40 minutes total time of the game.
Correct. 100% correct. Yeah, I'm going to tip the Titans here just so they can continue.
I think Titans in an upset.
Being the most successful team in Queensland.
A lot of quality ins for the Cowboys. Don't get me wrong. But, we're not invested, we're not invested that highly, but, as far as mediocre investment goes, we're pretty much invested on the Titans becoming the best team in Queensland.
Correct.
Especially if that helps ensure the Broncos are the worst.
Yes.
The Sharks take on the Eels at Jubilee. The Sharkies. Dugan is perhaps going to come back again. It's funny how he's got that 200th appearance in NRL coming up. Like Josh Dugan, the player, the first thing people think about with Josh Dugan, injuries, cat, doesn't play, gets knocked out of games, doesn't play because of a boil, etc., etc. Cruises on the roof.
Yes.
That's Dugan. So he's coming up to his 200th game. He's been named to have his 200th game 2 weeks in a row. And he's been a late withdrawal on both of those games. It's the Duganest shit ever. But he's back in the centres with Ramian. What else we got? Talakai back into the pack. Britton Nakora dropping to reserves. And Moylan returns in the 6. The Eels. Raystone named on interchange, which pushes Takarangi to the reserves. Otherwise, as per last week's program.
Did we actually have any clarification on how many of these 200 games he played more than 10 minutes in?
No.
Like, I'd demand some...
Hit us up, somebody.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not celebrating shit or acknowledging shit. Like, it's got to be more than a half, doesn't it?
How much of a game does he have to play to satisfy you?
Correct. Oh, over a half.
Okay.
Over a half.
All right.
So, yeah. Fuck the Green Whistle Merchant.
Parramatta.
I'm going to go on a limb here and tip the Sharks.
Yeah, I think the Eels are they're far too consistent. They can't the Sharks can't pull out the old we're shit for 70 minutes against the Brisbane Broncos for fuck's sake side. They can't pull that out and beat the Eels in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I'm not sure that this Eels team is the one. As long as the Sharks can do that Sharks thing where they really drag people into an arm wrestle, I think this Eels team is primed to fall into that.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't think that that's necessarily the worst thing for the Eels at the moment. The way they're playing, I think that sort of game benefits them more than a team that's ruthlessly trying to expose their right-hand side in defence. That's been the problem for them. And while it's possible that Wade Graham could do something with Dugan down that side,
yep.
You know, it remains to be seen if that's the way it actually goes down.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. We shall see.
I mean, just like on a form sort of perspective, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's still winning form for the Eels, and I just don't know. I'm just not sure how much I rate the Sharks just yet. But you know what? This is a great test, and if they can pull off the upset against the Parramatta Eels, then I'll be like, okay, I may be predisposed to think very differently.
No worries.
After this game. Okay, mailbag time. First up, I'll give the first one to Glenn, a.k.a. Real Dad. The only pack of cunts bigger than the West Tigers are the ones that host this show.
Well, you're half right.
Hurtful. Clevo said, would stepdad be willing to suck toes with the enthusiasm of Katoni Stags if his date so wished?
Fuck no. Fuck no. And
you're not into sucking on toes?
Let me tell you why. I eat ass. Fucking gladly, with enthusiasm. I fucking get a little polka dot napkin that I bought from home and I tuck it into the fucking top of my shirt before I go to town on that fucking date. Now, you might be thinking, surely you'd rather lick a toe than lick a booty hole. Well, think about the most disgusting thing that a booty hole can do, right? Take a shit.
Mm-hmm.
A, girl shits are fucking much cleaner than boy shits, so there's that. But you make a decent attempt to clean that shit away from the fucking booty hole. You know, there are things in place available to you, and well, most of the girls I know anyway carry fucking wet wipes with them when they need to shit anyway. But there is an active effort to clean any of the gross shit away from the surface of it. Think about toes. The only fucking thing that could potentially clean those fucking manky, bacteria-ridden Shrek stumps is the sock being pulled off over them. That's the level of fucking cleaning they get. Right? Now, everybody, I want you to run this exercise at home. Or in your fucking car when you get to a red light. Do it fucking safely on the foot that's not on the brake. Right? Take off your shoe, take off your sock, whatever it is you're wearing. get your index finger and stick it in between your pinky toe and the one next to it and fucking rub it in there. Take that index finger, take it straight up to your nose and fucking sniff it. And then tell me you want to put the source of that fucking smell in your mouth? Fuck out of here. No.
That did not go the way I thought it would. Phil said, so is this Kotoni Staggs' way of getting a trade to the Panthers? Well, I mean, I don't think he had anything to do with it, but also I think his camera work was substandard.
Correct.
I mean, boot the slut.
There was no jovial
it's a classic.
nickname.
It's a gonzo classic. Where's the dialogue in Kotoni Staggs' one?
Exactly. There was just shameful whimpering.
Russ, will the pairing of Blake Green and Mitchell Pearce end up looking like an episode of Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares?
I don't get the reference.
I mean, I am aware of Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares. I'm sure I've probably seen an episode or two here and there, but I guess does he just mean like a total cunt circus? It has the potential, yeah, definitely. Let's see how they gel this weekend. I mean,
looking back over great premiership winning sides, my opinion and my thoughts is that you generally need a calm game managing style of half, and then a more run the ball first, explosive, unpredictable style of half. You know what Gower and Preston Campbell were together. You know, I just think that they're too similar in play style to really be that effective.
I would agree. Shane says, on a scale of completely to totally, how stupid are the Warriors for letting Green go early? Who the fuck do they have at the club that can do a better job? I think the Warriors, more so than any other side in the competition, are absolutely preloaded with reasons why this year's fucked.
Yes.
They have no expectations of anything other than getting through it.
If you also
Green's already been publicly... Well, he's already publicly been said, we're not keeping you.
Yeah.
So he's not in their plans.
Yeah.
They do have Harris Tavita.
Yep.
And Nikorima.
Yep.
I guess those guys are going to be the ones going forward.
Yep.
So I guess give them another 2 months of play.
Yeah, that's it.
There's no benefit to keep Green going.
In a perfect world, it would be nice for you to be able to say about Green, oh look, he did the right thing and he stuck it out there. But you're right. The fucking CEO of the club came out, or the owner of the club, whoever the fuck he is, came out and said, don't want him next year.
Yeah.
And Green heard about that through the media.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
exactly.
So they dug their own grave a while ago there.
Exactly. Justin said, is it true that Michael Morgan has been sidelined due to a hair transplant that went horribly wrong and he's using a shoulder injury to cover this? He seems to have a lot more hair.
Fuck.
I have not noticed.
I haven't seen him.
I'll wait and see the game this week.
Yes.
And we'll get
Let's
back
check.
to you. Ian said, what has more of a natural curve? Kotoni's dick or his goal kicking? I'm not aware of any natural curve in Kotoni's dick at all. I mean, for me, it just looked like a fucking half erect dick.
He does.
He just can't.
He does, but you know what? For the poor unfortunate guy, he's got a curve to the side, where everybody fucking knows that what they really want is the curve up.
The curve upward.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Clevo, with the loss to the Warriors now confining West Tigers to 9th or lower in 2020, and Cam Smith doing his shoulder, do the Tigers do the noble thing by saviour Harry Grant and let him go back to the Storms early so he can play finals football?
Well, there you go.
I don't think it's finals football. It's more of the just do the right thing. That's what it comes down to, mate.
Yep.
Andy says, was thinking it would be good to have a bit of a dive into the 6 again rule and how it's being used/abused. Obvious things to me are first tackle of a 7 tackle set. They just slow down as much as they want and there's only reward, no punishment in effect. The other most obvious one is holding them down the line when up by 2 points and the refs can't give them a 2-point chance for that breach of the rules, even though literally every team not containing Tolman would want to take the 2 in that situation. I feel like we've seen examples of this almost every week. And we've I feel like we've spoken about it a little bit as well. But yeah, I mean, it's the fact that teams would concede a 6 again on the first or second tackle deep in the other team's territory to try and get some dominance on them because it wasn't that much of a super penalty. That's why they brought in some of the additional ones and like the ability to penalise, for markers and not being square and all that sort of thing.
In saying that though, I don't get this fucking dumb cunt take that the new rule should come in, but we should be able to keep tiny little parts of the old rule and just put this new rule over the top and have them work side by side. It's a new rule. Of course it's going to be fucking different. It's meant to encourage more free-flowing football by not having stoppages in play. Now, if that means that people give away a 6 again on the first tackle, then that's fine. It's disingenuous to say that it's now a strategy anyway, because otherwise you'd be seeing 6 again restarts given on almost every set. Because the biggest advantage you can have is to slow down that play, and if it only costs you 1 tackle, then you'd do it. It's exactly the same reason why giving away a 7 tackle set, that's only 1 extra tackle, but no one talks about that and says, it's unfair, it's not enough fucking reward. It's meant to just cut the stoppages, have more continuous gameplay, keep the ball in play for longer, to give more exciting attacking football down the track as fitness and attrition take their toll. That's it. There's nothing more to be said. There's no difference than a team being happy to concede a penalty on their line if a team's down by 6.
Yeah.
How many times did we used to see it? They'd concede penalties, cunts were sent to the sin bin.
Mm-hmm.
So it still happened. Nothing's changed. All it's done is just give the opportunity to have less stoppages in the game, less chance to use the penalty for a rest.
Yep.
And force teams to adapt. It's the new rule, it is how it is. Fucking live with it.
Dan said, what can we do to keep the Rugby Sevens ladies in league now they've been okayed to play in this year's comp? Fucking pillage the ranks.
Fucking
honestly,
Manscape or Ladyscape, whoever their fucking partners are, keep your shit trimmed just to give them that subliminal fucking message that life playing league is better. There's less fucking when you're playing league than there is getting that fucking pube of a sport 7s down your throat.
And let's see, is this the last one? Yeah, pretty much the last one. So where is it? I've just collapsed it, so I need to get the whole thing back out again. But it comes from our boy Chris, and I've just fucking lost it.
Mm-hmm.
Come back, you motherfucking thing!
What happened, Mr. Drifter? My fellow TikTokers will get that, and they'll be laughing in their fucking cars while they're doing TikTok videos when they hear that.
Oh, so will the Chinese spies attached to gather intelligence on your life for somehow to be abused somehow by the motherland.
Well, okay, what's the fucking Chinese government going to do that Amazon and Facebook aren't already doing?
Well, I mean, I think Amazon and Facebook, all they want to do is just sell to you. I think the Chinese want to end your way of life and slip bat meat into your supply.
They get a fucking bad rap. You know what? If you've worked hard and you've made some fucking good money for yourself and you need a new kidney, you should be able to buy one. And, I'd fucking encourage you to find a more equitable way to decide who gives it to you than people who disagree with what the government says.
Here he is. Why is the Kangaroos versus All Blacks game the worst idea ever? What's your take on International Rugby League? The Kangaroos have a 67% win rate and the All Blacks have a 77.41 win rate. Why is International Rugby League seen as a joke because of the Kangaroos' dominance, and International Rugby League doesn't receive the same criticism despite the All Blacks being more dominant? International Rugby League is not seen as a joke because of the Kangaroos' dominance. International Rugby League is seen as a joke because of the very infrequent nature of international games being played, and also the very small amount of countries that get to participate in these high-level international games.
There are essentially 3 top-tier nations, and that's arguable. Obviously, Australia is a nation. England is a nation.
New Zealand is a nation.
No,
and then you've got Tonga that are on the up.
See, this is what's arguable. New Zealand is fucking lucky if they're little more than a town.
Well,
that's their fucking contribution. But
I'm just being strictly based. If you think of the history of results and things like that in international competitions, New Zealand's up there. France had their time where they were kind of they were the third sort of team. Tonga's are coming up where they're challenging to be the third sort of team, and then you've got a bunch of other people, and then you've got an absolute truckload of minnow-ish countries that have very fledgling when international teams that play against other minnows to try and raise the game.
So the issue with these fucking lower tier nations is that for an international competition, if a player can be completely fucking removed from the professional level of the sport for more than a year and walk into national representative honours for a country, that's where it starts to lose fucking credibility in the general public's eyes. The other thing you got to
and outside of the top 3 teams or whatever, a large number of the players in these other teams below that level fall into that category that you just mentioned. Whereas the easiest and quickest way to talk about the advantages of international union over league is that they have a real World Cup, because there's probably 4 sides that could win it legitimately.
On their day. Yes.
Every time, on their day, and then there's a bunch of sides that get that can pull off results. Like we had that amazing result in the last year where Tonga got over Australia, and that was like fucking unheard of. And and now there was like the year before they got over New Zealand, and that was unheard of. Like, but that's like few and far between. Whereas even in union, I mean, you get teams like like Japan they're starting to get they're getting beaten by 100 a decade ago. And now they're starting to take teams out, and actually they're a competitive side. So there's no doubt that their international game, particularly as it surrounds World Cups, is just better. But your original question was, why is the Kangaroos versus All Blacks game the worst idea ever? And I'll tell you why. Rugby is pretty much fucking dead in this country, and the NRL is well and truly on top in this country, and there is no reason whatsoever, after the cunty raids and things that the union have tried over the last 2 decades on and longer on league, there is no fucking gain for us to give that dead sport in Australia a lifeline to publicity, revenue, attention, anything.
I heard fucking
let
Phil
die.
Kearns has been appointed like the head of Rugby Australia, whatever the fuck it is. And he's going on that the Australia needs to host the World Cup, and it'll be a giant fucking boost for our economy. Get your fucking sport more than a $20 million TV rights. Then come and talk to us about hosting a fucking World Cup. Get a fucking TV rights deal that I couldn't realistically raise in a GoFundMe in 90 days. We could start a fucking change.org position to have more people donate $1. I could get more than 20 million people to donate $1 and never have rugby union shown on television again, and you're fucking gone. I agree with you wholeheartedly. There's also no international advantage. No one in South Africa is going to watch that. and go, oh wow, what's this fucking great version of rugby that I've never seen before? I'm going to religiously watch that and then buy a fucking membership in Australia and lots of merchandise. There's no upside for rugby league.
Yep.
Absolutely none. It's a fucking ego project by Mal Meninga.
Suffice to say, it is a terrible fucking idea. Okay, tipping. King Kong has stretched his lead out to 3 points. It's a very early in the season to have such a large lead. On 75 there in second place, we have Andy, 6 again, Yana, Sneaky Kiwi, Benny, 89, Matt, and On a Blood Buzz, and then that takes us down to 7th, and then 1 point back, JBB, Nightmare, and the East-West Arabian Swamp Echidnas. So, get your tips in. And that is it for full-time for episode 362. Thanks for listening, everyone. As always, interact with us on Twitter, so follow at TWI League. Our Facebook community lives at hashtag TWiLNation. The direct link for that one, facebook.com/groups/TWiLNation. Get in there and we'll process your application immediately as soon as we get the notification. We're also on facebook.com/This Week in League. So make sure you hit the like button, share the posts around and all that sort of things. Help us spread the good word. And if you'd like to support the show, make sure you drop us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. And if you want to go the extra mile, our digital memberships are still available and can be picked up anytime for $3.99 a month. Had a review this week come through from Half Mo Rocks, top shelf, 5 stars. How a Broncos fan comes to love this show is a pure example of why it's so damn good. Get on it. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. And lastly, thank you again to Manscaped for supporting the show. Get your Lawnmower 3.0 now at manscaped.com and use the code TWiLNation to save 20% and get free shipping on your order.
Hashtag
and,
if you Yeary of Sheary.
Yeary of Sheary, yes. And make sure if you do avail yourself of the deal, let us know that you did.
Fuck yes.
Because we'd be very interested to know. And feel free to throw us your own anecdotes.
Send photos. Business at This Weekend.
No. Send photos. I don't know what your fucking Twitter handle is these days. You change it too much. Yeah. Put it in the subject line so that I can forward it immediately to Stepdad's email because I don't need to see that shit. Anyway, that's it.
Enjoy.
See you next week.
Later.